The promotion meeting is supposed to be a celebration. My name has been on the internal shortlist for a week. Everyone on the floor saw it. 3 senior colleagues stopped by my desk just to say congratulations. The operations director gave me a nod on Monday that said everything without a single word. So when I walk into that conference room on Tuesday morning, I am calm. I have my notepad. I have my jacket on. I am ready to receive good news with the right amount of humility and then get back to work. Gerald Price, my boss, sits at the head of the table. He clears his throat. He shuffles some papers in front of him. Then, in a voice too flat for what is about to do, he says, after reviewing attendance records and overall commitment levels, we decided to remove Daniel from consideration for this cycle. My stomach drops straight through the floor. He says I've been showing up late recently. He says leadership demands consistency. The room goes completely quiet. I look around at the faces of people who have seen me arrive early every single morning for 6 years. Nobody speaks, because the problem is very simple. I was never late. Not once. And every person in that room knows it. After the meeting ends, my coworkers avoid eye contact. That detail stings more than I expected. People I have worked beside for years suddenly find their phones, their folders, their shoes deeply fascinating. No words of comfort. No questions. Just chairs scraping back and feet carrying people anywhere that is not near me. I pack my laptop slowly. I will not let my hands shake in front of people watching from the corners of their eyes. Gerald passes me in the corridor on my way out. He does not stop. He does not look directly at me. He just smiles, a slow, private kind of smile, the kind that enjoys knowing something, and says quietly, close enough that only I can hear, "You should learn punctuality before chasing leadership roles." Then he keeps walking. I stand in that corridor and let the words land. Then I think about this morning. I arrived at 7:41. I checked my phone in the elevator on the way up. Gerald's parking space was empty when I walked through the car park. He arrived after me. He was the one who was late, and he had the nerve to stand before 30 people and use my name to say otherwise. My name is Daniel Carter. I am 31 years old, and I have worked at Northbridge Logistics for 6 years without a single late mark or a formal complaint against me. I joined as a junior operations analyst at 25, fresh from university. I spent the first year learning how the company actually ran versus how the org chart said it ran. Those two things are rarely the same. Once I understood the gap, I got to work. Over the next 5 years, I built half the operational systems the department uses every day. The freight reconciliation tool, the vendor tracking dashboard, the automated audit report that saves the compliance team 6 hours every quarter. When the senior coordinator role was posted, I did not apply because I thought I deserved it. I applied because I was already doing it. And senior management agreed. The promotion recommendation had cleared 2 levels of approval. The operations director signed off. The regional head signed off. Both had privately congratulated me before the meeting even happened. So when Gerald stood in that room and canceled everything with a lie about punctuality, the feeling that settled in my chest was not just anger. It was certainty. Something else was driving this. And I was going to find out what. Later that same afternoon, I begin to understand. I am at my desk, finishing a freight reconciliation when Gerald returns from lunch. I notice what I do not hear. No keys jangling, no easy laugh, no voice filling the corridor the way it usually does. He walks past the open office door without looking in. I glance up just long enough to catch it. His eyes are red at the edges. His collar is off-center. And along the left side of his jaw, catching the afternoon light for just a moment, is a bruise. Faint and yellowed, a few days old, but unmistakably there. I look back at my screen. Within 10 minutes, he has snapped at 3 people. The graduate analyst who asked a routine question. The admin assistant delivering reports. A team lead from another floor who had done nothing except pass at the wrong moment. Each time, his voice carries a tightness that has nothing to do with work. I sit quietly and watch. Something settles in my mind like a key finding its lock. This is not about my performance. This is not about punctuality or commitment or leadership readiness. He is carrying something from home into this office. And this afternoon, he put it down on me. Over lunch the next day, I find out more. I eat with Marcus Anchi, one of the floor supervisors who has been at Northbridge almost as long as I have. Marcus notices things without dramatizing them. So when he mentions Gerald, I put my fork down and listen. His wife is intense, Marcus says, in the same tone he would describe the weather. I ask what he means. He takes a moment. A couple months back, the neighbors called the police. Twice in 1 week. Shouting through the walls. Things being broken. He pauses. Gerald came in the next morning with his hand wrapped up. Said he slipped in the driveway. I look at him. Nobody believed the driveway. Marcus says simply, he finishes his sandwich and moves the conversation to the loading schedule. But I sit with the pieces clicking together in my mind, one by one. The bruise on Gerald's jaw. The exhaustion he carries every Monday. The cruelty that spikes on the mornings he looks worst. The mood swings with no professional explanation. He was not a difficult boss having a rough week. He was a man absorbing damage at home and releasing it at work every single morning. And someone needed to know that. Over the next week, the pattern becomes impossible to ignore. I stop treating Gerald's behavior as random and start watching like a data set, looking for the rule underneath the noise. Once I see it, I cannot unsee it. He arrives most Mondays with a compressed, dangerous quietness. Not angry yet, just full of something held since the weekend. And by Tuesday afternoon, he finds somewhere to put it. Always someone nearby. Always someone who cannot push back without risking their job. This week, that person is me. 3 performance warnings land in my file in 5 working days. 1 for a report submitted on time. I have the timestamp in my outbox. 1 for a client called Gerald himself canceled, then logged as a miscommitment on my part. 1 for a vague communication issue with a vendor, who later sent me a written apology, which I kept. I understand exactly what he is building. A paper trail. Something to point to if anyone questions a promotion reversal. A record to make a personal decision look like professional judgment. That realization changes my approach entirely. I stop reacting. I start planning. If you want to build a case, I will build one too. And I will build mine better. The obvious move is HR. I sit with that option for a full evening, testing every angle. I could walk in with my evidence and my grievances clearly laid out. Maybe someone listens. But Gerald has been a manager here for 9 years. He plays golf with the head of operations. 2 of the 3 people on the internal review panel know his name well enough to smile when they say it. Accusations without bulletproof proof do not just fail, they rebound. They make the person who raised them look like someone who cannot handle a setback. With 3 performance warnings in my file, escalating now would look exactly like that. So I think about something different. Gerald is not suffering because of this office. He is suffering because of home. The source of his behavior is not here. So perhaps the most effective response is not here either. He brings damage from home and releases at work. What if the right information moved in the opposite direction? What if the person who truly has power over him, real power, not policy power, saw what he was doing to people here? I do not act on this yet. I let the thoughts settle while I focus on the next step, building something solid enough to matter. I start documenting everything, quietly and methodically, in a way nobody around me notices. Emails first, 6 weeks back. Every thread where Gerald presented my work as his own. There are 11. In 4 of them, the original chain clearly starts with my name before his reply forwards it upward with no attribution. Meeting recordings next. Audio from 2 team sessions where I proposed process improvements. Gerald dismissed them, and those same improvements appeared in his presentation to the director 4 days later. I clip and label each section by date. Slack messages. Screenshots of every exchange where he killed my suggestions publicly, followed by threads days later where he rolled out the same idea as his own. Then the performance warnings. I print each one and staple it to the counter evidence. The sent receipts, the calendar entries, the vendor's written apology. Everything stored in 3 locations. My personal laptop, an encrypted cloud folder, a USB stick in the inner pocket of my work bag. The folder grows quickly. Within a week, it is thorough. Within 2, it is airtight. And then one evening, reading through building policy documents for a completely different reason, I come across something that changes the weight of everything I built. I remember the cameras. The building had a full security system installed 14 months ago. I remember the disruption clearly. Workers in the car park for 2 full days, half a day rewiring the lobby, everyone complaining about it. The cameras cover the main entrance, the lift banks, the stairwells, and the full car park. Footage is held on a 30-day rolling cycle and archived quarterly for compliance purposes. Every arrival is recorded. Every arrival is time-stamped, including mine, including Gerald's, including the morning. He stood in front of 30 people and said I had been arriving late. I close my laptop and sit quietly. If the logs show what I believe, his lie is not just a private cruelty between 2 people. It is a documented, time-stamped fact sitting in a company server, waiting for someone to request it. I just need to be that person. The only challenge is requesting the footage in a way that does not flag what I'm actually looking for. Name a specific date, and word reaches Gerald by afternoon. I need the request to look routine. I think about this for 2 days. Then I know exactly how to do it. I request the building entry logs through the operations channel. I frame it as a routine workflow audit covering a 4-week period, a real process, something I have run before my actual job role. The facilities team processes a request in under 48 hours without a single follow-up question. There is nothing to flag. It looks like exactly what I said it was. The logs arrive in my inbox on a Friday morning. I open them at my desk with my screen angled away from the open office. I find the date of the promotion meeting. I scroll to the arrival column. My access card, 7:41 in the morning. Gerald's access card, 8:04. 23 minutes after me. I read those numbers twice. Then I sit quietly and let that land. 23 minutes. He arrived 23 minutes after I did on the morning. He told 30 people I had a punctuality problem. I screenshot the entry. I save it to all 3 stores locations. I print a copy and add it to folder. Then I close the file and return to my normal work like nothing has happened. Because officially, nothing has yet. The folder is nearly ready. I need one final piece. And I already have a feeling about where to find it. The final piece is in my own inbox. That same evening, I pull up the original promotion recommendation thread from 4 months ago. I have read it before, but never closely enough. I read it closely now. The approval sequence is fully documented. Director Vance signed off first, 6 weeks before the meeting. Her digital signature time-stamped at 3:14 in the afternoon. Director Reeves signed off the following morning. Both marked the recommendation final. Gerald's sign-off came 3 weeks later. He approved it. His credentials, his timestamp, his confirmation. Then I scroll further. 48 hours before the meeting, there's a second entry under Gerald's login. A revised recommendation. The approval withdrawn. 2 words in the notes field. Attendance concerns. He approved my promotion. Then he quietly went back and reversed it 2 days before the announcement. Without telling either director, without telling me, without telling anyone. He let the meeting happen. He let me walk into that room in my best jacket, ready to say thank you. And then he used it as a public stage to announce the reversal with 30 witnesses watching. I add the full thread to the folder with both entries highlighted. The picture is now complete. Every piece is in place. I give him one opportunity to tell me the truth himself, not because I expect honesty. I do not, but I want to hear the version he chooses to deliver to my face and watch him construct it in real time. I send a brief message on a Tuesday afternoon asking for a one-on-one. He agrees, the way people agree to things they cannot politely avoid. I sit in his office and ask calmly, no edge, no raised voice, whether promotion might be revisited. I mentioned that senior leadership had already confirmed their approval. I keep my tone level. He leans back. A slow smile settles on his face. The smile of the man who believes every room belongs to him. Leadership decisions change, he says. The directors defer to me on team readiness. My assessment is my assessment. He tilts his head. Then, voice dropping just beneath professional, he adds 3 words like they cost him nothing. Learn your place. He says it like advice. I look at him for a moment. I thank him, close my notepad, and stand. I walk back to my desk. I open my phone and press stop on the voice memo running since I walked through his door. 2 minutes and 41 seconds. Crystal clear. I did not plan the recording. The voice memo had been running from a team meeting earlier that morning. I simply had not stopped it before walking into Gerald's office. By the time I noticed it was active, about 3 minutes in, the most important section was already captured. I made a deliberate decision not to stop it. The file goes straight into the folder. 2 days later, just after 5 in the evening, I am walking to the print station when I hear him. Sound from the stairwell, the door left slightly open. His voice reaches me. Stripped of every trace of the manager's polish he wears all day. Tight and pressured. I said I was sorry. What more do you want from me? A long pause. Please, not tonight. I have an early. Another pause. Longer. When he speaks again, his voice has become almost small. Okay, I'll be there by 6. He sounds like a man who lost before the argument started. I walk past without slowing, and the idea that has been forming quietly in the background sharpens, in that moment, into something completely clear. I know who needs to see what I have collected. I just need the right setting, and it is about to find me. I want to be honest about what I felt in that corridor. I did not feel sorry for Gerald. I checked myself for it the way you check a pocket for something you were sure you had. Reaching in and finding nothing. Not because I am cold. Because Gerald had spent 3 weeks carefully dismantling my career, while wearing the face of a reasonable manager doing his job. Whatever damage he was absorbing at home, he chose to redirect onto me. So I stood there and thought clearly. He had secretly reversed a promotion 2 directors had approved. He had lied publicly to 30 people to cover that reversal. He had manufactured 3 false warnings to support the lie. And the person on the other end of that phone call held a kind of power over him that no HR panel ever could. Not policy power, not procedural power, personal power. The kind that comes from being the source of someone's fear. If she knew what he was doing at work, how he was punishing people who had done nothing to him. How would that conversation go? The idea was no longer forming. It was solid. I just needed one thing. The right setting. And it was about to arrive in my inbox. The opportunity announces itself through a company-wide email. Subject line, Northbridge Annual Charity Evening. Spouses and partners welcome. Every year, Northbridge holds a fundraising dinner for the Children's Hospital Trust. Formal evening, sit-down dinner, silent auction, brief speeches. Partners are always invited. Attendance among managers is strong because it is one of the few company events that feels like an actual evening rather than a meeting with better catering. I read through the details twice. Then I checked Gerald's shared calendar. He has already confirmed his attendance. Next to his name on the RSVP list, there is a second name, Renata Price, his wife. I close the email. I lean back slowly in my chair, and I allow myself a quiet moment, not triumph, not celebration, something smaller and more precise. The clean recognition that the setting I had been waiting for had placed itself in front of me. A social event, warm, a room full of small conversations where 2 people could speak without anyone reading significance into it. A space where I could show someone the truth without it looking like anything other than a conversation at a company dinner. I open my evidence folder. I begin thinking through exactly what to present and in what order. I spend the 12 days before the event making everything ready. I produce a single-page summary of the building access logs. Clean and minimal, date at the top, my arrival time, Gerald's arrival time, the gap between them, and 1 sentence linking that date to promotion meeting. Readable in 20 seconds. I print the promotion approval chain. Director Vance's approval highlighted in yellow. Director Reeves' sign-off in yellow. Gerald's original confirmation in yellow. And his revised withdrawal, logged under his credentials 48 hours before the meeting, highlighted in a different color entirely. The timestamps tell the story. I add no commentary of my own. I trim the voice recording to the section that matters. Gerald saying leadership decisions change. His assessment is his assessment, And in those final 3 words delivered quietly like they cost him nothing, I organize everything into a folder on my phone, clearly labeled, easy to navigate in a noisy room without fumbling. I do not rehearse a speech. I decide deliberately against it. I am not going to perform anything that evening. I am going to show one person the truth, plainly and calmly, and step back. Whatever she does next belongs to her. That boundary is important to me. It has been from the start. The charity evening arrives on a Friday. The venue is a function room in the hotel the company uses every year. High ceilings, warm lighting, round tables with white linen. Near the entrance, the hospital trust has arranged drawings by children from the wards. People stop and look genuinely on the way in. A real pause, not the polite half-second glance most events produce. I arrive at 6:30. The room fills steadily. Bar along one wall. Servers moving with small plates. The noise sits in that comfortable middle zone. Loud enough for privacy, quiet enough for real conversation. I collect a drink and move through the space naturally, stopping where it feels normal. Gerald arrives at 7:15 with his wife. Dark suit, professional warmth fully switched on, handshakes, easy laughter, the ease of a man who feels comfortable everywhere he goes. His wife walks beside him, composed. Still, her eyes move through the room in a way I notice immediately, not searching for someone to speak to, but simply seeing everything, taking inventory without drawing any attention to the fact that she is doing it. I find a position with a clear view of the room. I take a slow sip of my drink. I wait. At around 8 o'clock, Gerald anchors himself near the bar. 3 board-level guests and the procurement lead have gathered around him. He leans in, talking with his hands. Fully settled. He will not move from that spot for a while. He never does when the audience is senior enough to be worth staying for. His wife drifts. She moves to the children's drawings near the entrance and looks at them properly. An unhurried, genuine look. Then she walks slowly along the edge of the room, pausing at the auction tables, reading each item description with focused attention. I time it carefully and approach from the side. These are something, I say, nodding at a drawing nearest to us. A house, a lopsided tree. Colors press hard into every corner of the page. She looks at it. They really are, she says. Her voice is composed and direct. Someone who chooses words rather than simply producing them. She glances at me. Are you with the company or the trust? The company. Daniel Carter. She shakes my hand, brief and firm. Renata Price. My husband works here. I know, I say. He is my direct manager. Something shifts in her attention. Subtle, like a lens adjusting to bring something slightly closer into focus. We talk easily for a few minutes. She asks real questions and follows the thread of what is said rather than waiting for her turn to speak. I get the impression very quickly that she is a person who does not miss much. In a natural pause, I mention it. I was hoping to speak to Gerald this week, actually. I say, there was a promotion decision recently that surprised me. Her head turns slightly. Surprised you how, she asks. The role had already been approved at director level. I say, keeping my tone light. Gerald's sign-off was on file. Then 2 days before the announcement meeting, the approval was quietly withdrawn. Attendance concerns with a reason given. I paused briefly. He told the room in front of everyone that I had been arriving late. Renata is quiet for a moment. And had you been? She asks. No, I say. Our building logs every entry by access card. On the morning of that meeting, I arrived 23 minutes before he did. She looks at me steadily. Something in her expression does not move, but something behind it does. Do you have those logs? She asks. Yes, I say. A short beat of silence between us. May I see them? Her voice is calm. Mine is too. I take out my phone and open the folder. I hold the screen so she can see clearly while I navigate. I want her to feel she is choosing to look, not that something is being pressed at her. First, the entry log summary. 1 clean page. My name, 741. Gerald's name, 804. The date of the promotion meeting printed at the top. She reads it without speaking. I scroll to the promotion approval chain. She reads from the top. Director Vance's approval. Director Reeves' sign-off. Gerald original confirmation. Then the second entry. The revised withdrawal logged under his credentials. 48 hours before the meeting. Attendance concerns in the notes field. She reads the timestamps carefully. Twice. Then I open the voice recording and tell her briefly what it is. A one-on-one in Gerald's office. I ask if she would like to hear it. She nods once. I press play and hold the phone between us at low volume. She listens to his voice. Leadership decisions change. His assessment is his assessment. And in the last 3 words, quiet and deliberate. Learn your place. The recording ends. She does not react immediately. She hands the phone back with steady hands. Thank you, she says, and the room suddenly feels very still. She reads everything slowly, not just the documents on screen. She processes what she's been shown the way a person does when information lands with real weight. Carefully, completely, without rushing to a reaction. Her face does not change much, and I stop trying to read it. I let the silence stay. I have shown her what I came to show. Anything more will be pressure, and I have not come here to apply pressure. I came to inform. The line between those two things matters to me, and I have held it from the beginning. She takes a slow breath. How long has this been going on? She asks. With me directly, about 3 weeks. The broader pattern has been consistent for longer. She nods once. I want you to know, she says, that I am aware Gerald has been under significant strain. That is not a secret. A pause, but it is not an excuse. She looks at me directly. Nothing you have shown me tonight is acceptable. None of it. The room around us is warm and full of pleasant sounds. Right here, between the two of us, the atmosphere is something different. She excuses herself quietly and crosses the room at a measured pace. I watch her cross the room. No rushing. No performance. The steady, purposeful movement of someone who has made a decision and is carrying it out without any need for the room to notice. Gerald is still at the bar, mid-story, hands moving, the faces around him angled in with interest. He looks completely at ease. He has no idea. Renata reaches him and touches his arm lightly. He turns, still smiling from whatever point he was in. He sees her face. The smile stops. She says something to him, low enough that the group around them cannot follow it. I watch his expression move through 3 stages in a few seconds. Confusion, recognition, and then something sitting right at the edge of dread. Not surprise. Recognition. The face of a man who knows exactly what has arrived. He excuses himself. They move to a corner near the side doors. I stay where I am. From this distance, I read postures more than faces. Gerald's shoulders have turned inward. Renata stands straight. She holds up her phone. She had photographed the entry log from my screen without my noticing. He looks at it, and he becomes a completely different person than the man who walked through that entrance an hour ago. Their argument starts quietly. That is how the serious ones always begin. Careful, contained, both people keeping their voices back from the edge. For the first few minutes they look to anyone passing like a couple working through something minor. Then her voice rises. One deliberate level louder. Enough that the couple nearest them exchange a glance and drift away. Gerald raises both hands. The gesture of a man trying to project calm explanation. She does not accept it. Her voice rises again. 3 years, she says. I can hear it from where I stand. 3 years of this. And now at work too. Gerald's posture drops. He is not the conference room manager. He is not the man who walked in tonight with his easy handshakes and comfortable authority. He looks powerless. A different person wearing the same suit. People nearby have stopped pretending not to notice. Across the room, my colleague Priya catches my eye with an expression of total disbelief. I give a small, neutral shrug, the look of someone genuinely uncertain, which is only partly untrue. I knew what I gave her. I did not know exactly what she would do with it, but it looks something like this. Monday morning, Gerald does not come in. His calendar is empty. His Slack status shows nothing. By 10 o'clock, 3 colleagues have quietly asked if I know what is happening. I tell each of them honestly that I do not. At 10:30, an email arrives from HR. All staff in the operations division are requested at a brief all-hands meeting at 2 o'clock. The meeting is short and delivered in the careful language HR uses when a situation is serious, and the process is not yet complete. The division head informs the team that an internal investigation has been opened into concerns related to abuse of authority and manipulation of promotion decisions within the department. She says it will be thorough. She says it will be fair. All team members with relevant information are encouraged to come forward through the open door channel. The meeting ends. People file out quietly. No jokes, no side conversations to lighten the moment. I return to my desk and open my laptop. I continue with the freight reconciliation from that morning. My folder is still on my phone, still in the cloud, still on the USB in my bag. I have not been asked for any of it yet, but the investigation has started, and I am completely ready. 3 weeks later, an email arrives from Director Vance. She asks if I can come to her office at 10. I arrive to find Director Reeves already seated. They do not make me wait. Director Vance thanks me for my patience and says the investigation has concluded. She does not share every detail, but she tells me what matters. The promotion reversal has been found to have no legitimate professional basis. The performance warnings filed against me have been reviewed and removed from my record. My promotion is reinstated, effective immediately, with a salary adjustment for the 4 months I spent performing the role without the title. Gerald Price has been transferred to a non-management position at the Northern Branch. I thank them both. I shake their hands. I walk back to my desk. I sit down, and I think about the arithmetic of all this. I never raised my voice at Gerald. I never confronted him in the hallway. I never filed accusations that would dissolve under pressure and make me look like someone who could not handle a setback. I documented the truth. I showed it to the right person. That one decision changed everything. The strange thing about doing things quietly is this. When it works, nobody sees you coming. That is entirely the point.